Guys, has anybody started or solved any of the questions that we gave you? Hello.
Yeah, hi.
Yeah, Rajesh. Did you
Sorry,
solve any question that we I gave on the
wait,
day?
wait, man. Since I was totally out of my desk, so just now I was been rushing up to the class. Already, I was just
Okay,
looking
okay.
into the questions actually.
Okay, okay. Look into it. Like
Yeah,
we will discuss it for 15 minutes, then we will start today's
yeah,
topics.
yeah. That's okay. I'm just checking into it actually. I will try to
Okay.
sort it out.
Did anybody else try to solve? Sarthak, you were there with us the day before yesterday. Did you try? Khalil?
No, I'm not. Sorry.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
So, Sarthak, you tried, right? So, can you give us the answer for the first question? I will present my screen and then we will start.
Is it for the errors that you mean to say? You want to figure out the errors that you've seen in the first question?
Yeah, yeah.
I think so. The error that I found is why is not been initiated? Why is not been
Wait,
declared?
let me share the screen so that everybody understands. Okay, just give me a minute. Okay. Yeah, Rajesh.
Yeah, as per the thing, you have in the third line that is saying if x is equal to y,
Hmm.
but nowhere the y has been initiated. No, there is no data to compare the y data, isn't it? So I think so that might be an error which will be triggered out.
Okay. So I will write the errors over here.
Sorry?
Or I will write the errors that not initialized.
Yeah, not
I
y
guess
is
there
not
is
initiated.
a double equal error.
Where?
If x is equals to y,
Right. Okay.
double equal,
So
and
double.
on the b part, there is also the same mistake.
No, first let's talk about the first part. Okay, and then we will move to the second part.
Okay, 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 okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
as
There
he
is one more
said,
error. There
yeah,
are
there
two
is
more
one more
errors. Two more errors.
in the same A option.
Colon
Three, four, four, four.
missing,
Yeah, colon.
colon missing.
And you see, I have noticed one more thing. X is equal to integer in the first line. Enter
Hmm.
value of x it has been given, but there is no option given to input. Now there will be one
Correct.
Yes,
command
yes.
which we have
Input
to
is
give for
missing. I
input.
guess. Input
Correct.
is missing.
Input missing.
Right,
One
Rajesh.
more error. Actually two more errors. Come on, guys.
In this,
Yeah, in this particular question, two more errors.
it is something like an magazine competition. Spot out the errors.
Yeah, export the difference. Come on, guys.
So
There,
It's open
and
to
yeah,
everybody.
there is no
if
return for x. For x in range, I guess.
Correct. No
for x,
initialization over here.
no, if x equal to y should be within parentheses, isn't it?
No, it's not necessary.
Is it so?
No, no, it's not
I, s-
necessary. That's not
I also told that there is missing a double equal sign.
Double equal to sign, yeah. It is
yeah, yeah.
assigned an operator. Now we have to check it with them.
I have
Yeah.
already written. Right now, who answered that over here nothing is initialized, x is not for x in range is not given.
I
Achha, you told no. So over here we are missing one variable after for, and there is one more error.
In this for in range 0 to 10,
Hmm?
um is it not a mandatory need that we need to initialize an integer or a variable there? What should be the
Yeah,
range?
yeah. That what Sarthak right now said. Na one variable is not initialized over here because for
Okay,
x in range or any variable in range
okay.
in the for board
Uh,
two more errors. I found two more errors.
Is
one
it
error,
else? Sorry.
I guess last line, print bracket open and then space is there now. There should be
No,
no
no,
space.
The
no. Over
print have an casing issue.
Yeah, there is
correct,
PRINT.
something
correct,
error.
correct. It will be print,
So
not capital in
yeah,
this print.
yeah.
And one
There's
more
a
error.
case sensitive. I think those else should be intent error is there in this.
No intentional. See now over here, these two lines are merging in
Yeah,
the same.
yeah.
There is no error. Just one more error, guys. In the for body only, in the for thing only. Okay, let me tell you. Over here, yeah, we are given like square brackets. It will be this brackets,
Oh yes.
First bracket there would be. Sorry.
parentheses.
Very,
Okay.
very silly.
Okay. Now let's move to part B. Okay.
Okay.
So
A.
what
Same error.
errors?
Colon in missing and
A
double
A space
equal.
plus. In third line,
Should
A
be
space plus should be removed. The blank space before
This one.
plus. Yes, yes. This one
No,
before.
no blank space error are there.
Yeah, that's.
A plus
Is
B
it
is equal
acceptable?
to C.
Yeah, it is acceptable. You can add
Sorry.
like this, but this has an
Last
I
error.
line
think it
print,
should
print
be.
Z. Print
It should.
last line print first bracket then space. This
No,
should be
no.
removed.
I said no spacing error are there. In like you can
I
add
see.
as many space you want, but
I
there is
see.
one mistake over there.
It is like
Colon.
C is equal to A plus B.
Yeah, there should be like this. C is equal to A
Why
plus
there
B.
is okay. Why there is we are printing Z? I guess this is also the mistake.
It
That
should
is
be
not
That we have
C.
not.
initialized. That is not
That is not.
initialized.
And C
Hmm.
also is not initialized. I guess.
Z.
It won't give an error because you are already initializing A and B now. I will run this code for you. Wait. See, it is coming as Z is not initialized over here.
Hmm.
That's why it's coming in that yellow line. See, it is also coming written over here.
Oh, the one which is like scribbled at the bottom as like in a Word document,
Ah.
it is intimating an error, isn't it?
Yep.
Okay.
See, int is not
It is not
iterable.
reachable. Okay.
I guess it will be A equal to B equal to 0. Yeah. So we printed C equal to 0. Okay. There was one more error that we cannot write this because I think this means an iteration. Int object is not iterable. So we will be writing A equal to B equal to 0. Okay. Or we can also write it as A is equal to 0, comma B is equal to 0. I guess this will also do.
Yeah, this is a standard declaration.
Okay, can't assign to literal. Either that or we will write A equal to B equal to 0. Okay,
Okay.
so let's move to the next part. Find the error in this, in C.
A input enter a number, and there must be a variable for the. I mean,
X is not initialized.
No, when we write like this, X automatically gets initialized. So
Okay.
there's no error here.
The colon after the for X in range 0 A2 colon.
Okay. And
A R is equal to 0 for X in the range 0 A comma 2.
After that line, A R plus equal to X.
If X
Is there B is
modulus
the next line? A R
Mhm.
plus equal to X.
yes,
Is there
Right.
any problem?
over
Yes,
here.
this line. Yes.
No.
Yes,
no,
this sir.
No.
I think so. In the bottom after that, if condition, is that is it an assignment operator? It is like modulus is equal to 0, isn't it? Equal to in the sense they should go with double equal to, isn't it?
Correct. Double equal to over here.
Okay. But there is no mandatory that it should be within a parenthesis, isn't it?
Yeah, there is no mandatory. It's not mandatory.
Okay. And print again case in case
Okay.
x into 10. X into 10. Okay. Else also casing problem.
And
Print C. Where is C in this? Where from C came in this?
mm,
So C is not initiated. And print AR. print AR. Here, if it's AR plus equal to print.
Is there we print AR plus the
No,
variable?
it's right. It's right.
That's correct. Oh, it's correct. Great.
In this, it is AR plus. Can you go to that? Plus equal to X in the sense AR. This is something like AR is equal to AR plus X, isn't it?
Yeah.
This type of statement we call it as
Increment, decrement we
increment.
use. Yeah.
Arithmetical something we use.
Arithmetic increment and decrement operators.
Yeah.
Okay. So I gave a like to write some codes.
Oh.
I guess nobody has written. If
so sorry.
somebody has, just please answer. Okay.
But I can, if you remember the question that you are going on the Saturday, I have done using the stars. So I guess the method of one by one, that can be possible.
See,
The method I've done.
that day itself I told you that will only work for like some amount, like till 5 only it will work, because you use if else block. Okay, it won't work for numbers like ranging from like I want 10 rows. Remember I showed you an example that day only, that if I give 100 to print 100 stars, then you have to do it like for 100 times, right?
No, what that method? Let me show you. Wait.
Send on WhatsApp. Okay, till then, like we are also having, I give more problems. So I guess everybody will do it by tomorrow, because it's not for me, it's for you only, so that you can all practice
This
that.
question 3, the second option, we already done this program on the other day, isn't it?
Yeah, just that day only we just did taking the input as percentage and then just grading it. We didn't calculate it. So because that day only 2 or 3 people were there, like you were there, Sarthak were there, and some other people were there. So like it was limited, na. That's why I gave it like again, so that everybody could do it.
Okay.
So I guess, let me see if anybody has no. Okay. So let's start with today's session.
Can you please do me a favor?
Yeah.
Can you just make me one more time this for loop with the range? Can you just explain me once again, so that it will be easy for me to follow it up?
Okay. So see, this thing goes like for I in range, okay, from 1 to 10, and then I'm printing I, okay. So what will it do? It will range, like what is this range? Let me first give you an example what the range function does, okay.
Yeah.
So let me print range from 1 to 10.
This will print from 1 to 9 then.
Okay. It didn't work. I thought it would. So let's see. I am explaining with a list form. Okay, in the list form, it will like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, till here only this range function. What it will do? It will create a list in your RAM. Okay. And it will like do it like this. Correct?
It will run each and every time. This range will be run up to 9 times.
Yeah, it will like run till 10. It will run 10 times, but on the 10th time it will fail because there will be no other element now.
Yeah.
So it will run from 1 for I in range 1. So the value of I will be 1 for the first round. Then it will print I. Then it will go to 2, then 3, then 4, and it will go till the end, till 9. Okay. Again it will come for the 10th time also, it will come in the for loop. But since there are no other elements after 9, it will terminate. It will go out of the for loop.
Cool. Okay.
now are you understanding like what?
Yeah,
for loop
I am getting you. I am getting you right now. So for with the range, I got it actually.
Okay.
So print, you just go with this program. After that, actually on the other day we have been doing a program, right? Like for 1 to 9, I got this to print it in a separate line or such type of things actually. On the other day we executed a program like 1, 2, 3, something like that. That type of programs on a logically I have an issue. That's what.
This one, like this we did now that last day.
Exactly.
Okay. So
This is
see,
the same type of pattern we are going to follow up with any type of this type of funny numbers to display,
correct. Yeah.
isn't it? So there will be two nested falls in one particular program. That is how it is running, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Can you just explain me any one of this again so that I can just put the same in any other programs to make out something else?
So I will explain this particular program in which you are getting this output. Okay.
Okay.
So let's say for first you will count how many lines you have to print. Okay. How many lines
Okay.
you're printing?
5.
So till then, till where will the range?
Range will be 1 to 6 actually.
Okay. So from 1 to 6.
Yeah.
Okay. Now we will check like horizontally how many elements are there.
3, 4, 5 elements.
5 elements. So for j in range
1 to 6 again.
1 to 6. Okay.
Yeah.
And then we will print we are printing I. Okay. And then it will end equal to nothing. Okay. What does this end function do? It will merge whatever the last out like print statement did. Okay. See, normally what does a print statement do? It will print and then it will go to the next line.
Yeah.
Okay. So when we do this end equal to nothing, it will not take us to the next line. It will leave the cursor over there only.
Okay, so it will not end it at that point. It will just flow the next data next to this previous
next to
display.
I. So
I got it.
so what will this print function do? Like over here when I'm printing, okay, what generally print function do? Suppose I printed this line, okay,
Okay.
and then what it will do? It will enter,
Mm-hmm.
correct? But
Yeah.
when we add end, it won't give enter. It will just stay there. I will like it leaves the cursor there only.
Okay, so the next time again this for I is going to be executed. Where
Over here
again,
only.
yeah, as like this it will be executed up to 5 times. Next to each every time it will be printing the same number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 something.
Yep.
Okay.
And this print statement, what it will do? It will give us to the next line.
Okay.
Okay, because we need a new line now for like 2, 3, and 4 and 5.
Okay.
So when we run this, it will give this output.
Okay. Can you go back there?
Okay.
In case if this 1, 1, 1 instead of printing 1, 1, 1, if I need to print it like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Okay. So we will do J. Let me run it and see.
Okay.
Did you get the logic, or should I explain the logic?
Can you go back to the program? Can you explain me?
Okay. So see, I told you now. First, the outermost for loop, what it will do? It will count the number of lines.
Okay.
So there are how many lines? 5 lines.
5 lines, yeah.
So that many times the outer for loop will work. Okay.
Okay.
Now
The first one is going to be for the number of lines, and the second one is for the number of individual characters.
Yep.
So when you put the J inside, it is printing. Yeah, I got it now.
Okay.
I got it. Better I will just make a note of this program. It is the basic program for the rest of this funny things. Or else I'll just take it from the recorded video. I will take it next day.
Okay.
Thank you, man. Thanks for your time. And one more thing, in case, sorry to interrupt again.
No,
can you go to the program again? Oh, it is closed. Okay. In case, if I need to make out a space in between, after 1 printed, I need a space.
Just
In that
end
case,
space,
okay.
and it will give a space. See,
So in case if I need to have a double space, then I have to give 2 spaces there.
right. See,
Two.
whatever you will enter here, let's say I want comma over here. If I enter comma, then it will print comma after 1, comma 2, comma 3, comma 4, comma 5.
In that case, how this program, like the star one that is been asked for, is been executed, right? Because it
This
is
one.
in it, na? Yeah.
Okay, I will explain the logic over here. See, for every space I will enter dot, okay? For a
Okay.
period. For
I'm
every
so
space
sorry,
I
guys. The rest of the people, since I'm taking too much of time of yours also. Or else you can get me the session after also, since we can go into the track. I don't want to delay for the rest of the people. So
yeah, okay. I will explain to you after the class, okay?
no issues, man. No issues. Let us go into the track. I'm so sorry for that.
No, it's fine, Keshav. You can explain.
Let's get everybody's suggestion. Like, are they understanding it? Then I will continue. Okay, Naveen. Should I carry on?
Yes, because it is helping me also to clear my doubts.
So, okay, I will replace every space with
Okay.
I will replace every space with a dot. Okay.
Okay.
So see, how many lines are there?
3, 4, 5 lines.
5 lines are there. Okay, let me copy this code, this thing over there. How many? 5 lines. Okay.
Yeah.
And for the first line, let's say for the first line, how many spaces are there?
4.
And then
After
for the
4,
second line,
3.
and see over here there is a space too. Okay.
Okay.
Between each character there is a space.
Oh yeah.
Okay. So see in between, like it is keeping on decreasing, right?
Yeah.
From it was 4, and then it keeps decreasing till 0. So we
Yeah.
will start our program like for I in range. Okay,
1, 2,
it
3,
will
4, 5.
go
1 to
from 1
6.
to 6.
Yeah. And then
Okay.
again for J.
Now let's like see over here. First, I want there are two outputs, right? There are two kinds of outputs we will be given, right? The first one is like just space, and the second is star.
Yeah.
So first we will have to print for like space, right? Because in the first line only there is space.
Yes.
So we will do for k
Okay.
in range. Okay. From where is it starting? Like how many spaces are there? 4.
1 to 4. So 1 to 5 I have to make.
So 1 to 5, right?
Yeah.
So 1 to 5 we have to
It
make.
should be a blank
But
space.
but see, when I is increasing, the space is decreasing.
I is increasing. Yeah, space is decreasing. Exactly.
Right? So we will do 5 minus I.
Oh yeah.
It will be 6 minus I actually. Okay.
Yeah. 6 minus I is this.
So 6
Because
for the first line. Just imagine it for the first line. For the first line, how many spaces are there?
6,
4.
4, 5.
4.
Yeah. Yeah.
4 spaces are there. So 6 minus 1. How much? What it will give me? 5.
5.
So for how many spaces it will print?
4 spaces it will print.
4 spaces, right?
Yeah.
And let's assume it for this like the next line too. How many spaces are there?
It is 3, so I have to make it like 4.
Minus 2. It will give me 4. Correct?
Yeah. I got your logic now.
Okay.
So every time it will increase the number of line and it will decrease the number of space in between.
Correct. So over here, what I will do, I will just leave it blank. I will give a space and then comma end equal to nothing. It will give me the spaces. Will it not?
Yeah, and that will not take out to the next line. It will print in the. It will wait for the next line.
So again, I will draw a for loop for I in range. Okay.
Yeah.
And for how many stars are in the first line?
1.
1. So from there it will go 1 to 2. Okay. But in the second line, the stars gets increased.
Yeah.
So I'll do I plus 1.
Okay.
Will it work? Will it work?
But it should not. It should have one more space in between, right?
I will like insert it now. Remember in the last question I showed you, we will just append end and with a space.
Yeah.
So I will give print. Okay. And I have to print star comma end equal to
end
space
with a space.
Okay. And then after the for loop is executed, I will print in the next line.
So that it will be a new line.
So do you think this logic will work? Okay, is it clear to everybody?
Actually, it is clear, but when you have been asking me to do a program like this, it is a bit tough for me. I think so. A creative mind is a bit tough to do this type of a logic things.
No, it's not like that. You have to just develop the logic. I've been practicing it like since 4 to 5 years. That's why you have to just keep practicing.
That's really cool, man. Thank you for this. Actually, it has worked out very nice. I will just copy this and the later session. That's okay.
Yeah. Okay. So let's start with today's session.
Yeah.
So today we will be doing while loop. Last class we decided we talked about for loop and the nested for loop. Okay. So today we will start. So what is a while loop? Okay. So as we have already talked about what are loops. Loop is allows us to execute statements for multiple times, right? So now let's move to while loop. We have already discussed for loop. What is the main difference between for loop and a while loop? Can anybody tell? I will first let me explain what is a while loop. Then just anybody of you just explain me what is the difference between a for loop and a while loop. Okay. A while loop keeps iterating the statement or a block until certain conditions are met. Okay. So let's say I have a condition. Let's talk about the flow chart. Okay. Let's talk about the flow chart. Let's start. Okay. Then while condition. Let's say, for example, I have a condition like x is greater than 5. Okay. X is greater than 5. Okay. So if x is greater than 5, then only it will go, that is, it will execute the true body. Else it will exit out. Okay. From over here. Else it will exit from here. If this condition is true, that is x is greater than 5, then only it will execute the body. And again, after executing the body, it will again check the condition. If the condition is still true, then only it will execute the body. Else it will go and exit the body, exit the while loop. Okay, and this is for the for loop. So, can anybody tell me the difference between a while loop and a for loop?
So you mean to say that in while loop it will check the condition twice?
No, not twice. It will check until the condition is false. It will keep on checking and executing the body until the condition is false.
Oh, in that case, like if condition, for condition is just going to execute the program until the program is right, isn't it? That is the difference, right?
No. I think you got it wrong. See, what does the for loop do? It will execute the block for a specified number of times. Okay, as in this case, I told you it will execute till 10 times, 9 times actually, right?
Yeah.
Because we ranged it from 1 to 9.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but in a while loop, we are not certain that it will it will execute for 10 times or 9 times or 2 times or 3 times. It can also execute to like it cannot execute at all, or it will execute till infinite also. We are not certain that it will execute. Okay.
Somewhere I'm getting blocked.
Okay, let me explain it with an example. Over here, we were doing that we were ranging it from 1 to 10.
Okay.
Okay, now we will write for a while statement. Okay, while, let's say I've entered a true. Okay, what a conditional statement return. What does a conditional statement return? True or false? Correct.
Okay.
I will print x. Okay, and let me initialize x with x is equal to 1. Okay, and let me print it. It will go for an infinite loop.
So it will print every time. It's
See,
going.
it is keeping on right now. I have to delete it. I have to kill the program.
Okay.
It will go for till infinity because this true, that means it is a condition. Over here, it should be a condition. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
but I gave the direct answer that it will be true. So what it will do, it will run for a what to say,
It will keep on
infinite amount
going
of
on.
time. Yeah. If I do false, okay,
It will not even run once.
yeah, it won't run even once. See, nothing was the output.
Hmm.
So did you understand what does a while loop do, and what is the difference between a while loop and a for loop?
So the actual syntax is after while there must be a condition given.
Let's say x is greater than 1. Okay, and I'm initializing x equal to 10. And over here, what I will do, I will decrement every time like print x is printed, x minus equal to 1. Correct?
Yeah. So is it mean like while will go run depending upon the conditional output, and for will run depending upon the range output.
Right. Like how much time, like whatever we have passed in this part, it will run till then. But a while loop will run until this condition turns out to be false.
Okay, so it is a conditional statement, and that is like a range.
Ranged, yeah, it is a range statement.
So the range, the default syntax for will be like for with an declaration and in range. Range is going to be a mandatory thing for the for now.
It's not necessary that I can also pass this list now. I can also pass this list.
Yeah. Straight away we can give the list, or else anyhow we are going to define the range there. Okay.
Is it clear to everybody?
Yes, it's clear.
Then it need to add else condition.
I think so, Keshav. If I understand, everyone can understand. It seems.
Okay.
Yes.
So see, it will print till 2. Because in the condition what I gave was x is greater than 1. Okay. Is it clear to everybody? So now let's do a simple program. Okay. Write a program to print the digits of a given number. Okay. Simple. Like if I entered 163, it will give me the output as 1. Then in the next line, it will give me 6. Then it will give 3. Okay. It's a simple program. It is like really easy to understand. So let me first take the number input from the integer, from the user. Enter number. Okay. And then what I will do, I will do a while. And then I will initiate a statement that is n is greater than 0. Okay. And then what I will do, I will like take out each digit, that is d is equal to n mod n. Okay. And then what I will do, I will print the digit. And then n is equal to n/10. So let's execute this. First, let me show you the output. Then I will like make you understand what the answer is. So it gave me the output from the back, like 361. Okay. So let me explain it to you what is happening over here. So first, I input the number from the user, that is 163. Okay. So now we will check that 163 is greater than 0. That is true. Now we come to the D part. D is equal to n mod 10. The modulus function, what it will do, it will give me the remainder of the number after dividing it by 10. So whenever we divide a number by 10, the remainder is always the last digit, correct? So what it will return to me is 3. So what we will get the output is 3. Okay. And then when we do this like double backslash, what it will do, it gives me the floor value of the n divided by 10. That is, like when you divide 163 by 10, what it will give me is 16.3. But what when we add like double slash, it will give me the floor value. What is the floor value? Floor is the minimum value. That means it will remove this decimal. Okay, it will give 163 by double slash 10 as 16. Okay, does anybody has doubt till now?
No, it's clear. It's fine.
Okay, so now 16, n is equal to 16 now. Okay, now this n will be again like circulated in the loop till here. So again we will check, is 16 greater than 0? It's true. Now what will you get the output here? That is 16 mod 10. That is the last digit, that is 6. Okay, and it will print 6. Now over here what we will do, 16 double slash 10. Now what will it give me the output? It will give me 1, because it will give me the floor value, and the floor value of 1.6 is 1. Again it will go to the while condition part. That is 1 is greater than 0. It's true, 1 is greater than 0. Now when 1 is like left, 1 mod 10 is obviously 1. So it will return me 1. Okay, and now what it will do, 1 double slash 10. It is 0.1 actually, but when we do the floor value, it will give me 0. Now it will go and check, is 0 greater than 0? It will be false, and then it will be like, it will come over here. Okay, is the program understood?
Yes, sir.
Suraj, you didn't understand the program. Okay. So let's move forward. Today also I will be assigning some tasks. Okay. So I guess like over here, this part is left, this question is left, and this conditional statement question number 3 is also left. So I will be, you have to repeat this 3 questions. Okay, in the assignment for tomorrow, and then I will be adding 2 more codes to it, to your question paper. So the syntax for the while loop is while test expression, that is the condition we want, and then the body of the while. Okay, in the while loop, text expression is checked first. The body of the loop is entered only if the test expression evaluates to true. After one iteration, the test expression is checked again, and this process continues until the test condition is false, as I told you before. So now let's move to a new topic. In the last, like when we were talking about for loop and if statement, we talked about break, continue, and pass. And then on Saturday also, we cleared some doubt regarding pass statement. Okay, if anybody has doubt, then they can go through that video, and if they don't understand, then they can ask in the class again. So today, to the going to the next topic, that is functions, standard libraries or functions. Okay, so what are functions? What are standard libraries? Standard library is a collection of tools that comes with Python. So Python has some built-in functions. Okay, and there are some modules that we as a programmer we like give on pip. Let me show you the official website of PyPy. That is PIPI. Okay, this is the package manager that like over there we can download any package you want. You just have to search for the package. Let's say I want to install Django. Okay, I search for the Django package, and then this is the complete website that like helps us in installing packages. You just have to copy this pip install the package name and then just come to the command prompt to your terminal and just paste it. And what this will do, it will install the pip is the Python package manager. It will install this particular package name into your local system. Okay, it is already installed in my system, so that's why it's not showing. Else it will download it and then install it. Okay, so what are standard libraries? I think everybody understood what are packages and what are modules. Let's say package. What are packages? Packages is a collection of modules. Okay, modules is a like small parts of a package, and package is obviously like a complete set of modules. Does anybody has doubt what are like packages and what are modules, and what is this website does, like PyPy? What is this PyPy, or what is pip? Anybody has doubt in that? Since nobody's like giving any response, I think nobody has doubt. Okay, so like let's move to forward with what are functions. So this is a very important topic, and I hope everybody just pay clear attention to this particular topic, because this is like the building block of whatever you will do in the future. Okay, so what is a function? Function is a block of organized or reusable code. Okay, let's say I want to add 5 plus 6. Okay, from the user I want to take this particular uh, answer from the user. I want to get this particular answer from the user. Okay, and then again I want to add 11 plus 23. Okay, and then again I want to add something like a very huge number with a very huge number. Okay, so I have to like write a complete set of like conditions for it. Like let's say c is equal to a plus b. Every time it will automatically give me the answer. Let's say it is something complex. Right now c is equal to a plus b is a bit simpler, right? Because we are just adding it two numbers. But let's say when we have to do a factorial, I hope everybody knows what a factorial is. If nobody knows, like I will explain it to you. Like 5 factorial is equal to 1 star 2 star 3 star 4 star 5. The star meaning product. I think everybody now understand what a factorial is. Okay. Yeah, Rajesh, it's not completely third-party libraries. Some of the inbuilt like whatever inbuilt libraries that came with Python also they are also there in the PyPy. So not every package over there is like third party. Okay, like some of the developers, like they are open source. So some of the developers, what they do, they create their own packages and they host it on PyPy, so that every other developer can use those packages and like do whatever they want to do in their system. Okay, so suppose I want to write a particular function, or I want to write a program for a factorial. What I will do is for I will do for I in range, because right now we know like for statement. Na? So what we will do, for we will use this statement for I. Let's say n is a number plus 1. Okay, let me take the input as number for sorry n equal to int input and number. And then what I will do, let's say the product is p equal to 1. And then what I will do, p is equal to p star I. And then I will print p. Okay, so this particular program will give me the factorial function. I have to comment the above statements. Okay. Let's say I give the number 5 and it gave me the factorial of that number. So this is how we can do it. But let's say I want to run, or I want like 2 times. Okay, I enter a number. I ask the user for 2 numbers. That is m. I want the user to give me 2 numbers, and then I will print the factorial of both the numbers. Okay. Now I want the user to print both the numbers, the factorial of both the numbers. Now I have to write like 2 times the same function. I have to write 2 times, right? For I in range from this to this and from this to this. So instead of this, what I will do, I will make a function, because it's a reusable block. In the definition, function is a block of organized reusable code. Okay. If I want this function 2 times, okay. So let me run it. The runtime will be more, and I have to write too many lines of code. Let's say 15 and 5. So it will give me the output. But I have to write this 2 times now. So it is like a headache for me. Let's say the user wants it for 15 numbers. So again, it will be a headache because I have to write it for 15 times, right? So what I will do instead of that, I will make a function. So just look at how we are initializing function. Okay, the def keyword is used to define the function, and then def space, the name of the function. What is the name of the function? Let's say factorial is the name of the function. After writing factorial, the name of the function, what we will do, we will open and close a parenthesis. Okay, and then a colon. Now, if you want something to be used from this part over here, then you can use a variable. Let's say I took a number n from here, and then what I will do the same thing for control X, control V. Okay, and then I will return P. Now I enter 2 numbers, right? So instead of writing this particular for loop for 2 times, what I will do is let's say P is equal to factorial of n, and F is equal to factorial of m. And then what I will do, I will print P and F. Okay. Let me run the code. I will take the last numbers only, 15 and 5. P referred before assignment, sorry. I have to do over here like P is equal to 1. So 15 and 5. So see, it will give me the same output. 120 and 1307674368000. So what it did, it reduced my code. Okay, it reduced my code now. So I think everybody understood what like function is. If not, I will repeat again. Does anybody want me to repeat again? Then I will repeat again.
Can you show me the program again?
Okay. Okay, let me explain what this return does. The return keyword, what it will do, wherever the function was called now, it will return whatever value was passed along with it. P is passed along with return. So it will return the value of P to the place where it was called. The function was called over here. Over here, we are calling the function. Okay. We're calling the function. This is a function definition. Okay.
Keshu, can you repeat once again, please?
Which part? The complete thing?
Yeah, once again.
Okay. So see what the function is. Function is a block of organized reusable code. Okay. Before, what I was doing for calculating factorials of 2 numbers, that is 5 and 15, I was writing 2 for loops. Correct? Just go with me. Whoever asked the question. Who asked the question?
Yeah.
Okay, just go with me. Okay.
Yeah, okay.
So The last time when we were using for loop, okay, when I was calculating the factorial for 15 and 5, I was writing two for loops, right?
Yeah.
But now for the same question, what I'm doing, I'm just doing one for loop, right?
Yes.
And instead of that for loop, what I'm passing the for loop inside of a function.
Okay.
Okay, so what
Okay.
it is doing? It is firstly it is reducing my code.
Yes.
Okay, it is reducing my line of code, and it
Yeah.
is also reducing my memory space, because let's say I write like I have to calculate 5 factorial numbers, right?
Yes.
So what I will do, I will write 5 for loops. It will increase the size of my file also.
Yes.
Yeah, and
Yeah. Yeah.
I told you from the beginning only that whenever a function like a program is executed, until the process is completed, the whole thing stays on your RAM.
Yes.
So if for every for loop I have to initialize new values, right?
Yes.
For initializing each new value, I will have to like store something. So it will obviously like use some RAM.
Yeah.
So that's why we use function, because it is reusable, right? See, firstly,
Yeah.
I'm using it for P for calculating the factorial of 15, and then again I'm using it to calculate the factorial of 5. Correct?
Yes. Yeah.
If I'm not like, if you didn't understand, then I will again explain to you.
Yeah. Yeah. I am understanding.
Sure?
Sure.
Okay.
Um,
Anybody?
Keshav,
Yeah.
can you go to the program again?
Uh,
In the 13th line, there is one more p. Is p is equal to factorial of n, isn't it?
hmm.
But this p and the local integer that is within the p is not the same, right? We can
No.
even give this p something different. Na? Instead of p, we can even give it something else
Yeah,
over
yeah.
here.
You can use anything. X, Y,
Yeah,
Z.
might be the if it as it is reflecting the same type of thing, we are getting confused. Why this p is being used, which is being used within the function? If you change that actually into some other one, like instead of p, you can make it like x, y, z something.
Let's say
Now
this is F1. This is factorial of the first number, and this is factorial of the second number.
that's even great. Yeah. So that now it's always the different integers, so it is easy for us to understand.
Hmm.
Why? Because I thought like something is connected with this 13th number. P is with something inside.
No, 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 no.
Okay.
Actually,
Cool.
see, I used P over here also because I was trying to like explain that the value of this P is not reflected over here.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. If this was also P na, if beforehand I printed P, okay,
Yeah.
and this was also, then if I see what it will give me, it will give me an error. Okay, let me like run the code. See, name P is not defined.
Yeah. Why? Because
Because
that is localized
P is
within the
defined inside,
factor.
it is localized inside the factorial function. It is
Yeah.
not localized in the whole program.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I wanted to explain it with two purposes. That's why. I hope everybody understand what the scope of a variable is. Scope meaning like you can use it, like you can use P inside this ref factorial function only. You cannot use it outside it.
Actually, there is two type of variables. Now we can declare it locally and globally. When if it is locally within the function, it will work only within the function.
Yep. So you can also do it like this: global. Instead of x, you can add P equal to 1.
Oh yeah. Is there anything like that?
Yeah, there is. I will like get back to you because I'm not like I haven't used it in a while, and that's why I think I forgot it. But I will get back to you.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, I haven't used the global variable like keyword for a while, so I have to read about it. But I will surely get back to you.
And if you want to declare more than, we can use the same name factorial, and
No,
we can
yeah, I
more than.
mean, you want to
Yeah.
like factorial of more than two numbers, right? Like this, now f3 equal to factorial.
No. My question is, as like in C or C++, within the
Hmm?
same name of same function name, we
Hmm?
can have 2 to 3 more function modules, but only the values which is given can be differentiated. Like instead of one integer, we can make out two integers. you can make out 3 integers. That can be a different shape set. Like, you get my point?
Yeah, that is called function overriding. So let me like show you over here only. Okay,
EAL, yeah.
n comma m. So let me just print out n and m. Okay. So n comma m. Okay. So in the first statement, what it will do, it will return me p, and in the second, it will print both the numbers that we are passing. Okay. So let's run the code. It is 15 and 5. So see, what will like it? I think it does not support this.
Okay, okay. Or else we have to return, we cannot return as like the first level, right?
Sorry.
In the first level, in the first program, it has returned the value, na, as an
Ah.
output. As like this, we cannot return the value in this.
No, you
Return.
can return. You can return. You can return. It's
Okay.
like it's up to you. Like I wanted just to print. Now I wanted to check it. Just that's why.
Okay, okay.
See, it is giving me an error because let me show you the terminal. Okay. When we used f in the upper part, this factorial which is taking only single parameter. Okay, when we were using that, it gave the output as factorial missing one required position argument because two were passed. Na,
Yeah.
we passed two values n and m. Okay, and
Okay.
it contained only one, so it gave an error over that time. Okay, and then again when I did n comma n in the above, so what is an interpreted language? It goes line by line now. So whatever comes first, it executes that only.
Okay.
Okay, so I will show you one thing also. So if it is print control x, okay, if I'm printing it over here and this particular function is above this particular function, it will
I
give me the
think,
output. It will give me the
yeah.
factorial, but it will give me the error also afterwards. I give 5 and 5. See, missing one position, required positional argument. Mm, mm, mm.
Actually, we can even discuss this later. No issues.
Okay, okay,
Why? Because I always pop out of the program, I think.
okay, okay. So I hope this is clear to you. Like, what is a factor? Like, what is a function
Yeah, for me, it's okay.
for everybody? Just please comment. Can you explain p equal to p star I? Is it same as p? Okay, it is like multiplying. It is we are multiplying p into I. It is like product, whereas p plus I is the sum, but p into I like star I is a product. Cheesy, I guess you understand. You understand what I'm trying to say. If I'm pronunciating your name right. Okay, so let's move to some of the inbuilt functions. So I told you now that some of the functions are inbuilt inside Python. So one of the functions we are using that is inbuilt is this int function. Okay, it is like typecasting, or see, when I hover on it, it is showing me the function over here. Function input is this. So it is a function. Okay, input is also function. Whatever we use outside, when we use this curly braces like parenthesis for any keyword, after using the keyword we use parenthesis, that is a function. So see, factorial is also function, but it is not inbuilt. We customized it now. We customized the factorial function. The print function is also inbuilt. So these are some of the examples of inbuilt function. The PPT we will also upload the PPT on the website. I think many of you have downloaded the PPT from our website, right? Okay, so I think I'd already have told you about function definition and function call. So this is the function definition, the where we use the def keyword to define a function, and this the factorial is a function name. Okay, and then inside the parenthesis, whatever parameters you need to use inside the function, we pass it over here, and then a colon. Correct? And what is a function call? Once you define the function, we can call it multiple times. So once you define the function, remember whenever you have to define a function now, it will always be defined above the where we are calling it. Before we have to define the function in a line wise, and then we have to call it. If we call the function before defining it, it will give an error. Okay. Guys, please respond.
Does it mean that all the customized functions must be defined first? I mean, which is to be designed first. After that, only we have to write the actual program to execute it, isn't it?
Yes, yes. Suraj, in 15th line, y factorial m, y not factorial n. See, Suraj, we are taking two numbers as input, na? N and m. So I have to first calculate the number, the factorial for n, and then for the factorial of number m. That's why we used n and m. It is not necessary that this particular variable has to match with this. Okay, let's say I have given over here number. Okay, then also what I have to do, I will just have to change over here. That's it. Then again when I will run the code, it will give me the same output. See, it will give me the same output. Okay, so it is not like you have to match the number and this whatever you are passing over here. You can pass anything. It just matters about the value. Okay, it just matters about the value. It does not matter about like what variable you are passing. The variable name is not important. The value is important. Okay, Suraj, I hope you understood. Okay, so Arpit, I think you missed the class where I showed you like you can go to our website and download the PDF of this PDF. Okay, I think you missed it. We will provide the link to our website on the group, in the WhatsApp group, after uploading the PPT. Okay, you can download from there. So I think everybody understood what a function call is. So now let's take it a bit up the notch up. Let's like move up. So there are two types of function calling. First is call by value, and the second is call by reference. Okay. So what a call by value and a call by reference is? Call by value. The call by value, what does the function do? Is it passes the value, just the value. Let's say x is equal to 5. Okay. And then we define the function av. Let me copy this code. It will not copy actually. I will just do changes over here only. Number equals to number star into 3. Okay, and then I will print the number. Okay, and what is this? And we are just calling the function. So I will remove these two statements. And these two also. And just call the function. Okay. What we are doing, we are just changing the number, and okay. So I will first define a variable. I've already used number. And then print n. So this particular function has nothing to do with the factorial of a number. It is just a function. Okay, we can define any name. Okay, so it's not mandatory that you have to define it with the whatever the cause is. So let's say I input number 5. So see, over here what I was doing, I was multiplying the same number with 3. That is 5. I input 5, and then I was multiplying it by 3. That is 15. So it give me the output 15. Okay, and then I was again printing the number. So as you can see, the number n did not change. Okay, the value of the number n did not change. Whatever we passed in the factorial function, that only changed. Okay, is it clear? Is this clear? Like what happened over here? Or should I repeat again? Here, okay. So now this is the call by function. This is call by value. Okay, this is call by value. Correct. So let me just comment this code out, or we will like change the things inside it only. So now when we will be doing call by value, so let's say y and quote is a list. Okay, current ID is this, and AV quote, and okay. So now we will be passing list. So let's say I have a list L equal to, that is 1 comma 2. Okay, I will remove this and I will pass this L, and then I will pass this L, print this L. Okay, so this is the list. Let's say I am naming it L1. Okay, and now L1 dot append. I think everybody knows what an append function does. It adds to the last of the list, and then I will print the list L1 for L1. Okay, is this clear? Now this is call by reference. Now let me run the function. See what it did. First I was printing the value of L1, and then I was printing the value of L. So let me like make you understand. Original and this is inside a function. Okay. So let me print again. So the function is also 1, 2, 3, and original is also 1, 2, 3. Remember the concept of mutable list and immutable list. Does anybody remember what a mutable list and immutable list was? Come on, guys, please answer. Anybody? Achha, yes, changeable and unchangeable. Okay. Can you be a bit more specific about the ID? Remember we talked about ID dot ID function of a particular list.
Yeah, it's memory address actually.
So what was the relation between the mutable and ID?
ID will give you the location of the variable where it is being stored up.
So like when you're talking about mutable lists and immutable data types, so do you remember like why are they called mutable and immutable?
Yeah, as the thing which you can update the data, which is called mutable, like list, tumble, list, not the tumble actually.
Tuple is immutable. Tuple is immutable.
Yeah. So the list and dictionaries are all mutable, where you can update the data on the program somewhere else even if you want. But immutable is you cannot do that. So
okay,
that's the difference.
Okay, you are a bit right. Okay, let me again like tell about mutable and immutable. Okay, so when we talk about mutable lists, that means changeable, correct?
Okay.
So when we talk about changeable lists, so list is a changeable, right? So remember we talked about ID. So let me print the ID of L. Okay, and over here also I will print the ID of L1. So let me run the program again. See, both the programs have the same ID. But sorry, both the variables have the same ID. So whatever is changed in one, if I change the something in L1, it automatically gets reflected in the original list also. So this is what we known as call by reference. Reference meaning ID. Okay, we assign the ID over here when we are writing the factorial L. Okay, we are not like specifying the value L. We are not specifying that L is equal to this. We are specifying the ID of L to L1. Okay, is it
In the previous sample you gave us, right? By giving a small demo on the previous thing, when you were starting to explain about this declaring the function, you wrote
call by value, right?
No. Generally, you just wrote an example, right? The very first time when you are defining a function for factorial.
Okay.
Was that function by definition or function by reference?
That was function by call by value. It's not. It's reference.
Because we are that is. Or else, can you do a favor? Just put both the programs in same Word document so that we can see both the things at the same time, so that we can identify the difference.
Okay, just give me a minute. Okay, so let's say n is equal to 5. Okay, and then what I will do, I will just L1 instead of L1, what I will do, L1 star equal to 3, correct? And instead of L, I will write and factorial of L, IDs of L, and what I will do. Okay, so see over here, when I will run this particular code, actually both the code is same only. So when I run this, so see, the ID of both the values are different.
Okay.
Because integer type or numeric data type is immutable. Remember?
Yeah.
From the PPT, remember that what are mutable and what are non-mutable, immutable data types. The immutable data types are numbers, while lists are mutable. So whenever we call, like whenever we reference a list, okay. Whenever we reference a list, it goes the ID goes to the function, not the value. Over here, L1 is equal to 5. Okay, but when we talk about list,
okay, so which means on a simple words, if a function is being called by a list, then it is a reference call by referral, where
not,
it is
not only a list. Whenever you call it by a mutable data type.
Okay, so to make it simple, if it is something like a list or an dictionary, something like that, then it is going to return only the address, not the exact value.
No.
I mean, the function will be called by the address. I mean, the ID.
Yes, by the ID. Like the the function will not be called by ID. The ID of the parameter will be passed in the function.
Okay.
What is a reference? Like in general English, what does the word reference mean?
It is the address, actually. I think
we are referring to something. We are referring to something. So this L1 is referring to this L. That is the address of L.
Instead of passing the straight data, it is just going to the address of the location of the data and manipulating the data which is located there. But in this, the straight away data has been given.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay, let me explain it with tuple also. If you want, I will explain it with a tuple also. 1, 2. This is a tuple, right?
Actually, tuple should be with a square bracket, isn't it?
No, square bracket is a list.
Okay.
Okay. So let's say L is a tuple, and I will pass a tuple over here, and L1 dot. I think append is a function for list. Append is a function for tuple also. So let me run this code. Tuple has no attribute list. Okay, so what should I do? how to change. Okay, let me change L1 is equal to 1, 2, 3. So I mean reassigning the value of L1. Okay. So now again, see, both the addresses are different,
Okay. Yeah.
correct? And the value is also different.
Yeah.
Hai. So I told na list tuple is a immutable data type. That
Yes,
means whatever has entered in one address cannot be altered.
Okay.
Okay. And when we are changing the value of L1 over here,
It is
it is
taking
getting a
the
new
different
address. Yeah, it is getting a new address and then referencing to it. Okay.
Okay.
Is it clear to everybody? If anybody has doubt regarding what is a mutable, immutable data type, or what is call by reference, call by value, anybody, anything? Call by reference. Okay. So again, let me explain it with a list. 1, 2, and this is 1, 2, 3. Okay, Sarthak, listen to me really carefully. Okay. First, what we are doing, we will like create a list L equals to 1, 2. Okay, this is a list. This is a list. Okay, we are creating a list. Then what we are doing, we are first whatever statement is there, this statement will be printed. So what we will do, we will print id of L. Okay, and then we will call the function and pass L to, we will reference, actually we will not pass, we will reference the address of L,
Hello.
the id. Yeah,
Hello, Mama. Class la irka, Mama.
Rajesh, I think your mic is okay. So id, this is id. Okay, so this id will be passed over here. It's not the L, the value of this is not passed. 1, 2 is not passed. This id will be passed to L1. Okay, and whatever changes are done in L1 will be reflected back to L also. So I will run the code again. Acha, I should not have done this. I have to append it because I have to change it in the same to append 3. So let's do it again. Now see, the address of both the list, both L1 is same, correct? Sartha, can you unmute and do like ask?
Yes, yes, yes.
So see,
Good.
over at the ID is same. First we are printing the ID, right? And then
Yes.
what we are printing? We are printing the function that is L1, like the whatever the value of L1 in the function is. So when we append 1, 2, 3, so the value of L1 is also 1, 2, 3. And since the
Yes.
address of both the variables L1 and L is same, so the original will also change to 1, 2, 3.
Okay. Okay.
So the call by reference, what does it do? It calls by the address, and call by value, it just passes the value. It does not
Okay. Okay.
like send the address.
Okay. Okay.
Okay,
Okay.
is it understood?
Yeah. Yeah. I got it.
Okay. So I hope everybody understood what is call by reference and call by value. Now let's move to what are functions arguments. Okay, already I think I have told you what are function arguments. These are called function arguments. Whatever we pass inside this uh, parentheses, these are called either what to say, arguments or parameters. It can, there can be more than one parameter. There can be like any number of parameters. Okay, so next we will be discussing about how many types of parameters are there. Okay, so see over here, def print name str, we are passing the string and we're calling the function print. We are not passing any variable, so what it will give me the error. Okay, so print name missing one required positional argument. Okay, Now let's talk about how many types of arguments are there. So the keyword arguments. So keyword arguments are is an argument provided with a variable name while passing the values in the function call. So these are keyword arguments. Okay. So I will show you over here only. Let's say I have a L1 over here. Okay. So what I will do, I will pass like L1 is equal to L. Okay. So we are defining that the value of L. Let me give more examples. Let's say I have more than one variable. I have two, or let's say three. Okay. So I can do this, that I can pass like L comma L comma L, or I can like individually add, that is L1 is equal to L, or L3 is equal to L, or L2 is equal to L. Over here, when you use the keyword over here, when you use the keyword definition of an argument, keyword arguments, you can like change the arrangement. Okay, you can write L3 before L2 or L1 after L3. It's not mandatory that you have to write it in the like particular order. Okay, but when you're doing like like assigning the keyword values, like L1 equal to this and L2 equal to this and L3 equal to this. Okay, when I run this, it will not give me any error. It will run as it is supposed to. Okay, so this is the uh, keyword arguments. The next is default arguments. Default argument chooses a default value if a value is not provided in the function call. Okay, so what does a default do is, let's say I just passed L1 equals to L, and I didn't pass any value for L2 or L3. So let's say I didn't pass anything, so I can do this. L2 is empty list and L3 is also empty list. So what it will do, it will not give me an error. It will pass. So whenever you don't pass any value for a particular argument, what you can use this thing so that it does not throw an error. Okay, is it clear? What is a default argument, guys? Okay, let me give you another way of representing it. Let me give another way to represent it. Okay, so let's say I have a function def printing. Okay, and then what I am doing, I am passing a name which is equal to Michael. Okay, and then age. What I will do, I will print a name comma age, and then when I'm calling the function that is printing, I will call the function 2 times. Okay, why is it giving an error? Non-default argument follows default argument. Okay, I think we have to do this. Control X, Control V, age comma name. Okay. So just keep it in mind that whenever a default argument is there, you should always write it in the end. Okay, try to write it in the end. Printing, and then what I will do, I will just pass age is equal to 25. Okay, I will not pass any name, and again I will call the program, and then I will specify the name also. Name is equal to John. Okay, then when I run the code for the first time, since I was not like giving any name, okay, so it will just print whatever we gave it in default. So the default value of this is Michael, so it printed Michael and 25. In the next printing statement, what we did was we passed the name also. So what it did, it override this Michael and gave the name variable the value of John, and so it was printing John and 25. Okay, so this is what a default argument is. Okay, any doubt, guys? Okay. Just give me a minute. Okay. So I think everybody's understanding. Now let's talk about what a variable length argument is. Used when you need to declare more arguments that specified in the function, also known as arbitrary arguments. Okay, let's say I want marks along with this particular printing thing. Okay, and I don't know how many marks are there. Cool. I want marks also, but I don't know how many marks are there. Let me remove this also. Okay, we'll pass everything. Okay, let's say I want 5 subject marks. I have some subjects 5. Okay, but as a programmer beforehand, I didn't knew how many subject marks will be added. So what I can do is I can put star over here, star marks. Okay, and let me remove this. Okay, let me hide this. Okay, and then I give name equals to Python, and then what I will do, I will enter marks. That is 55. I'll remove everything. Okay, let me remove everything. 55, 75, 89. Okay, I just give three input. Okay, like 3 inputs. I have 5 subjects, but I only entered 3. And then again, now I will enter all the subjects. That is 99. Sorry, 75. Okay, 56, 90, 75, and 66. Now what I will do, I will print this along with this. What I have to print, I will print for I space in marks. I will print I. Okay. Now let me run the code. See, for the first time, what I did was Python. That is the name, comma the age, and then three numbers, 3 marks, and then name, and then the age, and then subject the marks of 5 subjects. So over here marks, this marks will do what it will do. It is storing variable length. It is storing this whatever this we are passing over here. It will store all the values in the marks. So we are using a variable length argument named marks over here. Okay. Saddam, I will provide the notes. I think we have already provided the notes in the group. Rajesh, the star over here is pointing to the address. Okay. So star meaning it is storing all the things in a list. Remember, this is the format when we have to print all the elements inside a list. So this syntax is for a list. So whatever we are storing, whatever we're passing over here, it is this function or Python automatically stores all the things inside this. With the star, meaning as it is a address. Okay. Guys, any doubt? Guys, any doubt? I already talked about scope, local variables, and global variables. Okay, and okay, this we will be discussing tomorrow. What is a lambda function, and we will summarize about it, and then we will talk about how to make custom packages and modules. So, okay, this is all for today's lecture. So, thank you everybody. And if anybody has doubt, then they can stay back and ask.
Keshav, can you please do us a favor? You have used a lot of functions like uh, print or something like any type of things. Can you just give us a list of those default functions which is being used actually, so that we just put the function name and the syntax of it, so that we will follow that type of syntax without any error? Can you do that? So.
Okay. I will try making a table and I will share it on the group only.
Yeah,
Or
that would be a
if
great
it's
help.
so, we will add it on the website also.
Okay,
So
okay.
whatever it is, we will update it on the group.
Sure, sure, sure. Thank you. Thank you.
Does anybody has any doubt? Guys, I think for after this class, we should all like revise it once. We should all go to the YouTube lecture we'll upload today and revise whatever I have taught you. If no, if nobody understood it, then you can always rewind back and then play it again. Like, and if they're still not getting it, then you can ask us. Am I clear to everybody? Okay. Thanks, Rajesh. Yeah, Ajit, you raised your hand. Whosoever wants to leave can leave now. If they have any doubt, then they can stay back. Sarthak, you have any doubt?
No, sir.
Are you sure, Ajit? Did you understand whatever I told you, taught you today?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Bye.
Thank you.